and by the way, I know this is controversial. Say what you will about iced coffee, but I've yet to find some independent, cool, hip coffee bar that makes iced coffee as good as Starbucks, and I'm sorry.
I don't think. Listen,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, wait. So you didn't want to do Man on the Street, but then you did Man on the Street.
I did Man on the Street because I have an upcoming special, which we can talk about, but
we're definitely going to talk about that.
I'm attacking it from every angle. So, I'm meeting with a PR team. I have, 100 plus pieces of content that are getting prepped.
All clips from the special?
Yeah. So basically the special will be clipped up into about 100 plus pieces of content.
Holy
and
cow.
then, I spent my own money on it, and I really believe in it. And the point, and so I was like, well, let me just do everything I can. And if that includes Man on the Street, I mean, the only thing that's stopping me from doing that is judgment from my comedy peers. And that's stupid. So
that's so interesting,
because people are going to be like some, comedians who might find it a little bit lowest common denominator or, And the thing that is, I'm doing it a little bit differently in this. I'm not doing it too different. I'm just basically copying the Hannah Berner model. For those of you guys watching, and if you want to be like an influencer or a content creator, just know that the blueprint for creating and being successful is already on the internet. So if you see somebody who's, going viral with their Man on the Street interviews, just follow their blueprint and do what they did for. There's nobody has a patent on asking people questions on the street.
Absolutely not.
So anybody can do it, but I think just know what your intention behind it is, because that's the most important thing. Because I think people will start a podcast or start comedy or without any clear goal as where they want to end up. They're just like, oh, let me just do this thing because I see all these other people going viral. So, for me, it is I want my special to pop off. I want to sell tickets on my tour, and I want to just have other opportunities to perform and act on film and TV. So anything that raises my clout to do that,
Is that so? If someone were saying like, "What's your ultimate goal?" That's the encapsulation of that.
Yeah, I mean, I went to one of the best theater schools in the country, and
which is give them a shout out. Where'd you go?
Tisch.
Oh, you went to Tisch. Oh, incredible! Yeah.
Stella Adler Studio.
Yep.
Is it lame when I say one of the best? Because
it's Tisch. Tisch is one of the best.
The fact is, it doesn't really matter where you go. It's all just a means to an end. There's people who have no real technical training that become uber celebrities. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel dumb that I said that, but
why?
I don't know.
While you're drinking, I do want to briefly tell those that are listening at home and those that are steeping at home, my steeples. Today we are drinking a Kucha tea, which comes out of Colorado. Absolutely love it.
Kucha?
Kucha. That's the brand.
Kucha.
That's what they are. They were originally called Uchi Wally, and they changed it. But this is Bitan Piao Shu Jasmine Green Tea.
Okay.
And for those steeping at home, about 180, I would say, between 180 and 185 for about 3 to 4 minutes. Kind of whatever you like. If you over steep a jasmine specifically, in my opinion, it does get a little more bitter.
Do you get sponsored by these people or what? Is that the goal to get
season 1 is exclusively sponsored by Conjure Tea.
It's not.
Yes, it is. We love Conjure Tea. Go check out Conjure Tea. So you were saying, I had asked you what your ultimate goal is. You said you went to let me change what you said because I know you don't like it. You went to a performing arts school.
Yeah. And the goal was to always act. And I just thought comedy was going to kind of be a means to an end. Well, not necessarily, because I really love doing comedy.
I was going to say, you're very good at it, so that's interesting.
It's nice of you to say that. I wasn't always very good at it. It's funny, where you start and where you end up. It's just like, I don't know.
I want to pick at that for a second. I understand that not everyone was good all the time. Like, I get that. I hear that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw you perform, and you did great. Afterward, I think I met you, whatever, and I was like, hey, that was a great set. And you were like, yeah, killed it.
Did I do that?
You did, but let me explain. At first, my immediate reaction, not to anyone else, but to myself, I go, I don't love that, right? That was my immediate thought. I go, I don't love that. And then I remember I was walking home because it was at West Side Comedy. It was, I used to live, at 4th and Ocean Park. So I was walking home and I was like, and I had a lot of time. Okay. Because my I didn't have Bluetooth headphones, so I couldn't really do much. So I was like, I'm just going to be with my own thoughts. And I was like, why didn't I like that? And I was like, you know what? I think I was envious because I wasn't able to get off stage and go, I killed, because I did well that night, but I couldn't tell myself that I did well. And I was like, oh, I didn't like that. I think because I wish I were doing that. And I'm not.
Well, I want to be fair. When I have a set where it's like, it must have been a really good set.
I think it was,
because if I don't kill, I'll come off and I'll be like, that was pretty good. I'm never gonna say that was bad because it's never bad, but I can't
get there.
But I'll be like if I killed it, it's because I say that to myself, like it's kind of like you got to celebrate and congratulate yourself. And when it's not as good as you want it to be, I'm also really hard on myself, and so it's like,
that is so interesting because you exude confidence to me. Like, you are one of the comics that I think exudes more confidence than anyone else. And I would argue, and please feel free to disagree, that confidence, like, it helps because we all start believing the stories we tell. So if I tell myself I sucked at a set, it's going to stay with me. And like 2 weeks later, people are going to be like, how'd that suck? I'll be like, oh, I sucked, because that's what I remember. But like, you strike me as someone who's so confident that, like, forget whether you believe it, I believe it.
Yeah.
I go, oh, he is really good.
Well, that comes with a lot of work, mirror work, and
what is mirror work?
Therapy and journaling, and literally looking at myself in the mirror and being like, you're a fucking star.
Should I be doing that? Is that going to help me?
You are awesome. You are the best. People like you. You're funny. You are a nice person. People want to spend time with you. And it literally just comes from doing that every day, and then also writing it down and continuing to say it. And then there's also little mannerisms that I do when I walk on stage to help me feel like I am a confident person on stage, because otherwise, you're fighting this inner monologue. For those people who've had like constant positive reinforcement their whole life, this may not be an issue for you, but
yeah, if you're listening to this and had that, email me, tell me how to get it.
But if you if you come from, like if you don't have that, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, everything, I'm just saying, like, some of us have to work harder to feel that way, so we work extra hard to feel that way. So that's what I have to work extra hard to feel that way. And like, I do write down like the goals I want, and like I'll be writing stuff like, you have the power to shape your reality. Like, you are a star. Like, you are the best. Like, and that's not because that's not because I believe that. It's because, like, in order for me to feel confident, I have to do those things.
I don't think I do enough of it.
Oh yeah, you got to do it all the time. Because you have to do it every day. There's a lot of people who are out here thriving, and there's a lot of people out here that are just surviving. And for the people who are like surviving, they have to work extra hard to feel special.
I'm surviving. I don't feel like I'm thriving.
I mean, it feels like you're thriving, bro. I mean, after I leave, I'm gonna for sure look this up on Zillow.
Oh, you certainly can. But I think. So here's what's really interesting. I remember there was something really interesting conversation, and then I want to get back to what you do before you get on stage. But there was a really interesting conversation we had once where we were standing outside. I think it was West Side. It might have been that or the Comedy Store. It was one of the two. And I said, "Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you." And you said, "Yeah, you too. Sorry, man. I'm exhausted." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I get it." And I was like, "Yeah, what happened?" And I don't remember the cities, so don't hold me to this. You had landed the night before.
Yeah.
You were in LA for, I'm going to say conservatively 26 hours maybe, and then you were flying somewhere else. And it turned out that year you had maybe bit off more than you could chew college-wise. I think that's maybe is that a polite way to put that? You booked a ton of colleges in a row.
A lot of traveling, yeah.
And I remember I was like, that's amazing though, right? And you were like, and you said this, you go, I'm so grateful and I'm so tired. And then you walked away, and I was like, damn, yeah.
Oh man.
And I was like, damn, I get, but that's a good thing though. I'm saying that in a positive way. I'm saying you said that, and I remember you walking away, and I go, from the outside, it's easy for someone like me to see that and go, man, he's killing and everything must be great. But a lot of people don't think about the fact that, like, you're probably up sometimes at 5 a.m. to go catch a flight
know.
or like catch
Truly.
a connector. You're sitting in airports. You might, let's say you do a show and it's really great. And I don't know if you were dating, you know, who you're dating now at the time, but let's say you were, for argument's sake, you're at, you know, you do a great show, you come home. It's not like all of a sudden you have that person right there in the room to go hang out with. You might call her and be like, hey, I had a great set, but then you were alone in a hotel or motel room or a comedy condo, just being like, well, I guess I'm here.
Well, luckily, I am very good at being alone. I'm comfortable being by myself, and I have things to entertain me. I think after like 2 to 3 weeks into like a tour, I think you start to go a little bit loopy. I'm not at a level where I can really fly anybody out to open for me or have somebody hang with me. Also, to be honest, I'm not a fun person to hang out with on tour. When I'm touring, I don't drink, I don't smoke.
Neither do I.
I treat it like a marathon, and because I am doing a little bit more with my voice than other people are.
Yeah.
I have to be careful about what I eat, what I put in my body and my energy, how I use my energy before, during, and after shows.
Wait, so you said you do something before you go on stage to give you confidence. What is that?
Oh, well, as I walk on, I point to the crowd like this.
Oh, and y'all, for those that are listening, not watching, he's pointing everywhere. He's pointing at all the people everywhere, all the time. Up, he's pointing up, even if there's not a second, and down. If there's not a second, I was gonna say, if there's not a second level, do you still point up?
Oh yeah, it's fun because it's goofy, but it makes me feel like a rock star, like I'm playing like that, that stadium or that. Even if you're not, it just makes you feel a certain way,
I used to, pre-pandemic, I used to go and just give high fives down the row in the front row.
Also not a bad idea.
I don't do it as much now. I don't trust the cleanliness of the audience, but I just COVID wise. Well, you were also saying, so I was saying what your ultimate goal was, and you said originally you were coming out here and you did comedy as a means to get more acting.
Yeah, I
but then
suppose
you liked
so.
it.
I mean, I guess I always liked comedy. I guess I always wanted to do it, and so I just, can I also, with the tea, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because I had tea last night.
Sure.
I have like my own little tea box, and I have my teas
Love
that I
it.
have. And you don't do like the small teacups. Like I have a little Japanese teapot, and I have a way smaller teacup because I find that the really hot tea will cool off faster in a smaller cup. Because you know what I mean? And also it's like very satisfying to drink out of like a little cup.
So the reason I don't do that for the podcast is because it would be a bit of a hullabaloo to like have a little tea set and have to do all that. Yes. So the style in which you're talking about, I love drinking that way, especially with like oolongs. I like doing that.
Yeah.
It's just, and you also can do fun things. Like if you have a proper tea set with a tray, you can have something called a tea pet. You know what that is?
No.
It's a little animal where essentially like it's it's like a little porcelain animal, and you like put it on your tray, and then a lot of times when you're doing a first, you could do what is called a rinse. Do you ever rinse tea?
No.
It's really quickly like doing a 30-second just pour through of some hotter water on tea. It originated because a lot of times people felt there was pesticides in the tea or things like that and would get rid of it. Now it's just kind of tradition, but you would take that first little cup of the rinse and you would pour it over your little tea pad, and like each tea pad means something different.
I saw a tea from China that was like rolled up into a ball.
Yeah.
And it was like you could keep reusing it, and it would actually get stronger. Like the more you used it, and the more
leaves open,
the more it opened up, and it was really cool. It was really fast, like because so the first cup of tea is like not the best one for that.
Pour it over.
You'd pour it over.
Yeah.
Very fascinating stuff.
Have you ever seen tea? It's like quote unquote tea chocolate bars. It looks like a chocolate bar, but it's little tea squares, and you break a piece off and put it in a cup.
Wow, no, but I love that.
Yeah,
I think tea. I think it's cool. You're like literally drinking like a flower. You know what I mean?
100%.
I will have a cup of iced coffee every once in a while. And by the way, I know this is controversial. Say what you will about iced coffee, but I've yet to find some independent, cool, hip coffee bar that makes iced coffee as good as Starbucks. And I'm sorry.
I don't think. Listen,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Let me back you up for a second here. Here's what I'm going to say.
Sorry.
So I also drink coffee. I had coffee. You can ask Martin and Lucas. I had coffee this morning. I love independent coffee shops. There's an independent coffee shop around the corner for me. It's called Narwhal. It's the best. They're my coffee place. That being said, when I am traveling, sometimes it's really tough. You go to an independent coffee place. It doesn't taste anything like you want. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Starbucks is good for consistency.
You know what you're getting? I get it. You know, I'm Brazilian, and when I go to Brazil, a lot of people don't know this about Brazil, but like, for example, like Pizza Hut is like a nice place in Brazil. Like people like Pizza Hut a lot.
I didn't know that.
Outback Steakhouse is also a nice restaurant in Brazil. This is real. So like if you go to Brazil, there's like a line. There's a wait to get an Outback Steakhouse in Brazil.
For the bloomin' onion.
Whatever it is, it's just different. And but in point being is like when you travel around the world or country, sometimes the Chipotles or the fast food places are you're just your best bet to like just get something you know what it is and it's going to taste the same across the board. You know what I mean?
Do you speak Portuguese?
I do.
Really wish I'd known that. I've been to Brazil 3 times and just really, I know Spanish, so I thought I'd be okay. Not even in the ballpark.
Yeah, Portuguese is like the love child of French and Spanish. If I had to put it into a category. But yeah, no, Brazil's great. I don't know. But when I go there, I don't go anywhere exciting. I go to like the West Virginia of Brazil. People are like, I'll be like, I'm going to Brazil. They're like, oh my God, you're going to Brazil. It's like, because most of my family lives in the capital, which is essentially like DC, but then people live outside of DC in the surround, like Virginia and Maryland and stuff. And that's essentially where they live, you know? So I'm not anywhere in particularly exciting.
I mean, that's cool though.
And it's a very like dry place. Like in Brasilia, it will rain for like 1 month straight, and then the rest of the year it won't. And the dirt's like orange, and it's very interesting. I don't know, just different. You know, go out and travel. Like Barack Obama said, go out and travel. That's the best.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said one of the best educations you can get in perspective is to travel. You know, see perspectives that are not your own.
I want to ask you an interesting question. So I didn't know you're Brazilian. I've known you for a bit. I didn't know you're Brazilian.
This question better be interesting. I can't believe you're just like labeling your questions. Like, let me ask you this question. I know it's interesting. Here's my interesting question.
It is interesting. You don't lead anywhere with the fact that you're Brazilian. You don't. It is not. No. It is not in the front side of your identity as a comic. No. Why is that? Because I think a lot of people will often lead with it thinking that it might lead them to other opportunities.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that. I find every comedian is kind of like starting their set out with like, hey, I'm, you know, Asian and bisexual, or hey, I'm black and gay. And that's
weird.
Okay.
I tried both of those. They don't work for me.
No, and I get that. And I think that's good to do, especially if you're a group that's marginalized, and it's like important to hear that voice, you know. Mm-hmm. Brazilian, not a lot of people know about Brazil. I feel like Brazilian people are kind of like off-white. You know, race in Brazil is categorically different than race in a lot of other countries.
How so?
It's just if you could even like look up race on Wikipedia, and Brazil has its like own section. You know, socioeconomic status is more of a thing that kind of determines how people treat you in Brazil, you know?
Okay.
And Brazil there's so many different types of people that came to Brazil, you know, like, essentially it's the Portuguese, right? You know, line of demarcation. That's why Brazil they like Portugal made some deal with Spain or something. And then like they got a certain amount of South America and Spain got a certain amount.
Interesting.
That's how, you know, I'm not a history buff. This is like a vague understanding.
You know more than I do. So this is helpful.
So, you know, there's like a lot of different, there's indigenous people, there's a lot of German people that came over, there's a lot of Japanese people. Like, I mean, when you look at, like, there's a lot of cultural influences in Brazil that kind of make it a really, truly like a crazy melting pot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you go to different parts of Brazil, you'll see different types of people. So, point being, I don't really lead with it because, I'm personally not as in touch with my roots as some other people are. You know, my mom was one of the only people from her family of 9 brothers and 2 sisters that came to America. I think she was the only one for the most part.
9 brothers, 2 sisters.
Yeah, and so I don't really, you know, we didn't go to, like, I don't have anybody here to connect with on that front. And also I don't feel like I speak Portuguese, but sometimes a little bit insecure about it because I speak it well, but I'm still, you know, an American. I'm more American than I am. And then also my dad died. He was raised in Argentina. So I do speak some Spanish, but he died. And so I don't really have a strong connection to that community either. So I don't want to be a hypocrite or a liar and lean into a certain identity that when the truth is, you know, I grew up an hour outside of New York City in New Jersey. and the fact is like I'm American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So also another like thing. It's like, you know, comedy. While it's good to tell your story, it doesn't have to be like all about your identity. I mean, if you look at my material, it's mostly about love and dating and sex and relationships, but I think that's like a uniting force. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I guess I don't lead with it. Maybe I should. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't say that. But I mean, listen, I understand also the challenge of like,
And also, some people don't see it as diverse that much. People don't even know. People don't. I swear to God, I auditioned many years ago for a prominent diversity showcase here in Los Angeles, and I got a call back, and the director of the showcase, who was since fired, you know, he asked me after my call back, he was like, "So what is your background?" And I go, "Well, I'm Brazilian, and you know, my father was raised in Argentina." And he was like, "So you're Portuguese and Italian," which kind of was like the inclination. What was it? I think he was kind of hinting at like, well, you're actually like more white than anything.
Really?
That was the vibe. And also like here, I look Arab and I look Middle Eastern, I look Palestinian or Jewish or Israeli. I look a lot of things.
Sure.
But point being is, I'm not going to really get considered for a Mexican role. Like I auditioned for, I had a callback for, I think it was like CSI or something. And it was, you know, the guy's last name was Lopez. He was a Mexican army sergeant. And the fact is, like, I know what they're looking for. And I don't look like that. Even though I speak Spanish and I could do it, I'm not what they're looking for, you know? So I'm never quite enough of one thing.
Does that make sense? It does. That sounds like a challenge in and of itself.
So I don't really lean into my identity at all, because like my identity isn't like enough of one thing.
That is so interesting. The other challenge,
especially, they're not the stories that people want to hear right now. So
no, definitely not. But like, I think the challenge for someone like you also, though, is like, you're doing, I mean, you riff a ton, but you are doing music where it's not like you're going to have an entire song like, I'm Brazilian, here's a song about it, or like, my dad died, have a song about it. Like, I think those are things that are a little harder to.
And also, I can't really do crowd work in the sense, I wouldn't feel comfortable poking jokes or doing little roasts for people who are, you know, Mexican or black or Asian, or, you know, like some people who are truly like, you know, black or Asian or of a marginalized, a really truly marginalized group. They kind of have more freedom to like make fun of each other. You know what does that make sense? And I don't feel like I have that. I don't feel completely comfortable doing that. Even though sometimes I can, but I wouldn't want to be misconstrued the wrong way, you know? And also, when I fill out a form, I'm like, am I Latin or am I South American? Like, because Brazil, I don't know, does Brazil fall in that category? Because if Portuguese is like a Latin language, then wouldn't French be Latin? Then I don't know. It's like a whole thing. So I don't know what to check, or you know what I mean?
No, I can appreciate that.
I'm confused about who I am. I'm confused about who you want me to be.
You're on a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah. So I just am like, no, I'm American. That's where, you know, I have a Brazilian passport, but I was raised here, and you know,
you're doing it.
Hoorah! Let's go.
Well, I think that's as good a time as any to get to our first segment. Are you ready for the first segment?
Let's do the first segment.
It's called the Newly Friend Game. It's like the Newlywed Game, but we're friends. I left you a whiteboard right there and a marker. You also have a little paper towel if you want to do any erasing. The way this works, I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to write down your answer. I'm going to try and guess what your answer is, and then we'll flip our boards, and similarly, we'll do the same thing for me.
Okay.
Now, I'm actually going to give you a choose your own adventure here.
Yeah.
Because I had a different question for you, but I'm going to open it up. So you have two options. Do you want to go a musical journey, or do you want to go a Brazilian journey?
Let's do musical.
Okay.
My
question, I'm happy to do it.
Asking like, is it okay that I didn't talk about my identity?
I'm happy to. Well, I wasn't originally going to do Brazilian, but then when you brought it up, I was like, I can do that too.
Yeah.
It's a very simple question. Who would you say, growing up, was your favorite? I'm going to either say musical comedian or musician who brought comedy into what they do, because those are two different things. So don't tell me. Write down your answer. Okay, flip your boards on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a great answer. So Morgan wrote Stephen Lynch. I wrote Adam Sandler.
I remember seeing Stephen Lynch, his Comedy Central, and his special on there, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. I wanted to do stand up, but he was the first musical comedian that I really saw, and I was like, this is great.
Well,
this
because
is awesome.
Is that?
And he's a great example of somebody who took his talent. He went on
Did he go to Broadway?
He went on to be on Broadway. He was the singer in The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it just goes to show the versatility you can do if you're just the overall good performer, you know?
Because when you started just doing stand-up, not musical stand-up, what was the impetus then to move you over? You're just like, I'm just going to give it a run?
Yeah, I mean, I had auditioned for JFL doing stand-up when I was 24 and 25, and then nothing happened, and I just was kind of like creatively tapped out, and I was very outcome-based, meaning I wanted the goal more than I wanted to do the work, you know? The art, the craft.
I think I'm still having that problem.
Yeah, so I was like, well, if I'm going to really keep doing this, I have to really have fun and I have to enjoy doing it. And so, you know, a friend had recommended that I kind of really tap into that music stuff. And again, the only thing that was holding me back was kind of the judgment of peers and just like being scared to, having done stand up for 6 years, like now I got to like start over. But overall, it was a good decision. So
I love that. I absolutely love that. Let's knock out my question real fast, and I'm going to put these boards down and not pick them back up again. I'm actually going to go with the Brazil route because I think it's pretty fun. What was my favorite Brazilian delicacy that I had while I was there? Don't say it. Write it down. I'm going to...
Real quick, can I ask a follow-up question? Do you have any dietary restrictions?
I'm a pescatarian. So I don't eat meat, but I do eat fish. Flip on 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Morgan got it. Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo. Who doesn't like pão de queijo? Are you kidding me? I knew immediately. You know why? Because that's why I had to ask if you had any, like, if you were like lactose intolerant
no, none of that.
But
all I do is eat ice cream.
I'm so glad I got that right.
Can I tell you something? I couldn't stop eating. Because you just don't. There's not a good analog in the U.S. There just isn't a good one.
Actually, there is a place where you can get it. If you go to Venice and near Overland, there's a Brazilian mercado, and you can get the frozen, and it tastes just like the.
Really?
Tastes just like what you want. Yeah.
Because there's not really an Americanized version of that. You can't go to a restaurant.
No, they do have Trader Joe's pão de queijo, but it's really bad. So you want to go to this Brazilian mercado. It's almost near Venice and Overland, and I go there every once in a while to get all my Brazilian treats like coxinha, pão de queijo, quibe. They got a lot of good stuff there. So that's where I'd recommend if you want to get it. You better believe it, bro.
Does everyone say that? Does everyone say they love that?
They don't have to say it because when I show up to a dinner party and I have made the pão de queijo,
you home make it?
No. I just get the frozen one and I bake it and I bring it as it is the first thing to be eaten immediately.
It is
immediately
so good, and I ate a lot of stuff while I was there that I'd never had before.
No, that's the best thing. Because also
you could pop them like baby aspirin. They're delicious.
Yeah, because also they are served basically everywhere. And they also come in different sizes. You can get a small one, a big one. If you're at the airport, they sell it everywhere.
So good.
And it is the best thing. It's if you haven't had it, pão de queijo, cheesy bread essentially.
I do also love the accent. I love your accent.
Are you surprised I got that, huh?
I didn't. Listen, until today, I didn't even know you were Brazilian. So
yeah.
I mean, but I love the accent. I can absolutely see why. So let me give a little backstory. I met your girlfriend on a photo shoot. She does hair and makeup and was the like nicest person to me in the whole wide world. But I can see why she was running after you. I mean, like with that accent, how could you not? Does she ever ask you to speak?
No.
Really?
No. She likes when I sing to her, but she never has me speak another language.
I would date you if you sang to me. I mean, come on.
No, I had an ex-girlfriend who she asked me to sing to her, and afterwards she was like, I thought that was going to feel weird for you to sing to me, but now I kind of need you to sing all the time.
I kind of listen. We're not dating. I want you to sing to me.
Yeah, because it's like if you're married to John Legend, or wouldn't you want John Legend to sing one of his hits for you? He literally have a Grammy, platinum award winning art. Not to say I am John Legend. I'm just saying, if you have somebody with like that who can do that for you, and I like to sing, so I'm happy to do it.
I mean, I like, this is going to blow your mind. I'm a musician. I played guitar for 15 years. I studied jazz in college and jazz
Probably
performance.
play better than me.
No problem.
Oh yeah.
But this is what so that was my old life, and I toured in a band. I did all that stuff. I've been dating my girlfriend. Her name is Jess. I've been dating Jess for almost 4 years. She's heard me play guitar once.
Oh really?
Yeah, because the big challenge, and this actually, this easily turns into a question for you, is trying to balance everything is hard.
Yeah.
And when I used to play guitar seriously, I was practicing hours a day. How do you, because you are someone who, you travel a ton and you're performing constantly, you're also doing a lot of videos. How are you prioritizing time?
I have something called a time box, which I saw on a TikTok ad, which is basically, you could buy it on Amazon, and essentially it breaks up each day into 30-minute increments. And then you have your 3 top priorities, and you have a list of the things you can like brain dump, and then you can just kind of organize it into when you're going to do it. And I do that. If I know like I have a couple weeks or months coming up where I don't have to travel a lot, I might then reprioritize what I want to work on. I actually starting now, like one of the things I'm working on is getting back into working out and getting into better shape. And then
That's funny. You look like you're in fine shape, but what do I know?
yeah, I just want to, I just want to be like stronger a little bit.
Put on a little muscle.
And then like for example, when I have a 30 city fall tour coming up.
Holy cats. 30 cities?
Yeah, so that's going to start September 20th ish, and it's going to go till sometime in November. But leading up to that, I'll spend a month or two running almost every day and doing vocal work every day and eating healthy every day and prepping every day for that. Because it's going to be tough, and I'm probably going to catch a cold at some point. I just want to be healthy. And so, yeah.
But do you ever find when you're at home, that prioritization gets harder? Because at least for me, I know that I build in, and I say this in a positive way, I have to build in what I call like watering the relationship plan. Like that's just as important. So
yeah. So when I'm in town, me and my partner, we prioritize spending time with each other, because she might have to work on set for 14 hours and then I might have to leave for a show. But that's about it. Like my schedule has been so crazy that it's hard to find some sense of normalcy, but now I am hiring, people to help me with stuff that I used to do to hopefully free up time for other things and be more creative. And we'll see how it goes. I'm in a financial place where I can hire people.
Sure.
So it's not lost on me for people who are up and coming, how difficult it is to really balance stuff, especially with how expensive things are. And when you have to constantly be putting out content, but then also be creative, and it's really tough for a comedian coming up now, if you don't have like the years of experience that you had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't you feel? I totally know what you mean. And sometimes the challenge I try and explain to people is like, I feel like these days I'm equal parts businessman and comedian. Yeah. And that sometimes is tough for me, because sometimes I just want to be a comedian and I don't have that luxury.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
Do you not ever sit there and just go like, I really wanted to write some jokes today or write a new song today, but instead I need to balance the books, or I need to map out the content strategy for the next 2 months, or I need like all that kind of stuff. It takes up time.
That's all of it, man. I really haven't. The other thing is I haven't really when I used to write songs, I would sit down and like just like write, but my hand has been giving me trouble, so I'm afraid to play.
You haven't seen a doctor to figure out?
Yeah, I've been to physical therapy. I mean, there's not like it's just, and I've spoken to other musicians. It's just like one of those things. It's like a repetitive stress injury. That's
what I have on my hand right now.
So, and arthritis runs in my family, so it's not going to get any easier. And so there's like a dull ache over here.
Yeah.
The ulnar nerve, for those of you who don't know, is the nerve if you hit your elbow and you get that little funny bone.
I hate
it. It goes from like here all the way down to to here, and there's things that can affect it. So, but the thing is, like, I'm working within limitations, and I'm pivoting, and I think it's also good. It's like I have to evolve, which is good too. I mean, like, I think you see a lot of comedians that their specials, after 2 or 3 specials of a comedian that you really like, you kind of get what their shtick is.
Sure.
So I'm trying to avoid that and change up my hours. You know what I mean?
You know what I actually, one of the things you just said that I was like, oh, that would be so fun, is like you and a guitarist,
Yeah.
because you have good energy. You could kind of play off that person.
Well, if the next special coming out, I have a piano player. And
Do you really?
Yeah, I have a piano player.
Tell me more about this. So you, obviously, I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. I've seen you for a long time. What made you say, hey, you know what? Okay, I'm ready to do a special like this is. I feel like I'm ready for this.
I shot the first one after touring colleges. I did about 40, 50 college tour dates, and I just ran my hour.
I think that was the year that we'd had that conversation.
And then I was like, I should just like film this, and I was afraid to film it because then I'd be like, oh no, I have to write more music. What if I can't write more music that's good as this music? And then I did, and then I went to the Fringe Festival. I ran my hour every day. I was running some of the songs for years, and after putting out the first special, I felt such a relief. Creatively, I can, do other things. So then now I'm like, all right. So I wasn't afraid of that feeling anymore. So with the next special, I just wanted to do things a little bit differently, put a little bit more money into it, a little bit more care, and totally self-funded, and got a really good team together. And I think we made something really special and something that I'm really proud of. So obviously I'd love for it to be a hit.
Yeah.
I think we did something nobody else has done as far as musical comedy goes, and even years down the road, it's something I could be proud of. So even like, I don't know, I just feel like I'll be happy with it, even if nobody else likes it. I will be able to watch. I've watched it like 15 to 20 times at this point.
Are you editing it?
No. But we get different cuts and the person mixing it, we have different mixes, and because we recorded it we filmed it and recorded it live in a very special recording studio.
Oh, you didn't do it live in front of an audience?
No, we did it in front of an audience. We did, but the audience was in the recording studio.
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It was a big recording studio right in West LA. They built the recording studio for Fleetwood Mac in 1979.
Really?
Yeah.
What's this? Are you allowed to say the studio?
Yeah, it's called The Village.
I've never heard of it. Sounds cool.
Basically, every musician and artist you've ever heard of is recorded there. Yeah.
Because I remember when you were running, I want to say maybe it was in preparation, but there was a minute where you were running like an hour. I think it was maybe a month. Maybe it was at Baroque. Maybe.
Yeah, it was right. But I actually had already filmed my special.
Oh,
that old one, and then I just was like, oh, I'll just keep doing it because people were buying tickets.
So I mean, it was cool. I wanted to go 1 month and I wasn't able to get there. But
so now in LA, now I do an hour just in general every month because I sell tickets.
Is that Alana's?
No, I do my own hour now. So basically, since like December, maybe even November, I've done an hour every month, and they've sold it. Like I sold at West Side twice. I sold out the Hollywood Improv Room, and I'm doing it again a week from tomorrow.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
So people are buying tickets, and people want to see me, and one of the things that's different about my act is they come back and they request songs. So then they'll sing along. So, and what I really like about my comedy specials is that you don't have to watch it in one sitting. You don't have to like the whole thing. You could like one song and then or two, like any other music album, you can have your favorites and just listen to those on repeat, and then the rest, you put aside,
Yeah, but I think shouldn't that be that way for all the comedy we listen to? It's not, but shouldn't it be?
Well, with comedy like specials with jokes, I think the replay value is not there where it is with music comedy. I agree. You could listen to Bo Burnham's songs over and over again.
Yeah.
So, and I think with jokes, it's hard to capture that first feeling you had when somebody made you laugh and like said that clever thing, or because now you see what's coming. You know what I mean?
There's a special, I don't know if you've ever seen it because it's pretty old, but it was our generation, arguably, was way back in the day, was Kevin James, Sweat the Small Stuff.
I did see that. I couldn't quote you any jokes, but he was a very funny guy.
So that special is one of the only specials, other than like when I was younger, I used to quote like Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld and stuff like that. But like as I got older, that was one of the first specials where I took joy in introducing it to other people.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch that.
It was so
was that
fun.
Was that on Comedy Central? Did they put it out?
It was a Comedy Central.
Right, right?
It's on Netflix now. I remember the first time I showed it to my girlfriend, and I saw her laughing at the jokes that I was like, man, I remember the first time I laughed at that, and it gave me just as good of a feeling. But I think the problem with a lot of comedy now is you can't do that. If you're
Yeah.
watching, and and the comic I'm
And
about,
there's also a lot of comedy now. It's a little oversaturated, and there's just a lot.
well, do you think we're in a boom and then there's going to be a bust? I mean, do you think right now, like,
No, I think it's always going to be like this from now on.
really?
Yeah, and I think you just have to work harder to stand out and find ways to get people to watch your stuff. Yeah.
Well, how do you think that, like, because you popped on social, do you think popping on social was helpful at all?
Yeah, I mean, it changed my whole career.
Did it?
It's the reason I'm on Wild 'N Out. It's the reason I sell tickets. 90% of my ticket sales are from social media.
So you think that that's pivotal? Any comic that's trying to pop out now, if you were talking to a comic who's just starting, you would say, like, get your social game on point.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because I'm 36.
Yeah,
when
me too.
Yeah, when I started, Facebook had just been invented. You know what I mean? And YouTube wasn't as big of a deal, and so I had the luxury of like developing my comedy, and I think goals are different now. Like when I started, I wanted to do JFL, I wanted a late night spot, and I wanted my own TV show, but you don't really need that anymore.
I still want, I mean, I don't want all the things you mentioned, but like having a late night 5 minutes and having my own television show would be great.
Yeah, but when you're looking at building equity in your own brand and your own business, like social media and YouTube, and that's why one of the places we're really considering putting my special out is, I don't know where it's going to be depending on when this comes out, but watch it. You could watch it everywhere right now.
We'll put it in the show notes.
But
and we'll make sure we'll release this right when it's coming out.
But if you really believe in your product, you could put it out on YouTube and it will find the audience, and then the money all goes to you. It's just different. I wouldn't tell them to. I would say, like, do you want to be funny? Do you want to make money? Do you want to be recognized by your peers? Do you want to, like, what do you want? And I think it's going to kind of dictate the path you take as a comedian or an entertainer.
I want to say all the above. Am I allowed to say that? Probably
so
not.
Then I guess you do got to work on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Do you want to move to the lightning round? You feel ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I like to use an index card, so this way that you're kind of like you're on late night.
Yeah.
So question 1, what is a favorite ritual of yours? So mine is making tea. What would be one of yours?
I would say, when I wake up in the morning, I have my morning when I'm in town. It's run, yoga, vocal warm-ups, and meditate. And then I have my oatmeal and a croissant.
I love that. How long does all of that take?
It takes about 2 hours.
That's long. When do you wake up?
I mean, I wake up at like 9.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to be like, I wake up at 4 a.m.
No, I don't get as much as I should have done in a day, that I could get done in a day. I still try to enjoy my life.
I respect.
Yeah.
Question 2, what is a running bit you have with a friend or partner that makes you laugh?
Inca dinka do. I do have this new thing now. I had auditioned for this movie, and the last line I have to say, Inca dinka dinka do. And it kind of made no sense. So I started saying it because of my friend who was running lines with me. He was like, this is ridiculous. So now we say it every once in a while.
I like that.
If I'm saying bye, I'll be like, all right, buddy, Inca dinka dinka do. Inca dinka do, homie.
When do we find out if you landed that one?
I didn't.
Okay, all right. I can't wait. You could tell us the movie off mic. I'm dying to know. Question 3, can you do an impression of one or both of your parents?
No.
No?
I can't.
The worst impression, the better.
My mom, so my mom is Brazilian and she has an accent, and I guess I just hear it. I don't hear her with an accent. I just
really
hear my
interesting.
mom. I don't know. I can't do it. And then my dad's Dead Dad's Club.
Yeah.
And then
I'm right there with you, bud.
And then my stepdad is American and speaks like normal English,
Okay, love it. Well, you don't have to.
I'm not good at impressions. I know what my strengths are.
Listen, I get it. You know what? If I were ever auditioning for SNL, I wouldn't be doing
impressions.
impressions.
I wouldn't do it, yeah.
Question 4, and you kind of started hinting at this a little bit. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there a moment that rings for you?
I got cast on Wild 'N Out, and I had to go do the show in September of 2022, and I felt odd being there. I felt like I didn't belong there.
That's interesting. That's right up your alley. That's right in your wheelhouse too.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But that was one of them. And then, when I was like there was a show I did. I was on a lineup with Reggie Watts, T.J. Miller. It was me, and then I think like one other comic. And I felt like I was like, oh man, what am I doing here? So But then my friend was like, there was no gap in your talent with anybody else's. You did great. So
Yeah, I think it's always going to be more in your head than it is outside of it.
I don't think it ever goes away. I think, as long as you're self-aware. I mean, look, I know I'm not the best musical comedian or performer. I know there's people that are better than me, but there's only one me. So, and I offer something special and unique. So
I completely agree.
my mission, I think, what I would say, going back to the comedian thing, I would say, if you're an up and coming artist, entertainer, or any type of medium that you perform in, create a mission statement for yourself, like you were your own business, and let that guide you and how you operate. Because if your mission statement is strong, then like you define your values and what you want to do with your art, and it kind of makes everything else easier. Like Apple doesn't say, I want to make the best phone there is. They say, we want to make things that make people's lives better. So that's why they make other things, and like phones and speakers and augmented. They're working on AR. They might make a car. They're making TV shows. Like they make anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, my mission statement is to create genuine and authentic connections with my audiences. So whether that's through doing stand-up or singing songs or doing man on the street interviews or being, it's just kind of, you can do all those things. You know what I mean?
I like that. I was going to ask you your mission statement, but that sounds pretty good.
So we want to make unique and genuine experiences for audiences.
I love that. Yeah. Well, the final question, we typically say, what's your favorite tea or comfort? But you seem to be a tea drinker, so I'll say, what's your favorite tea?
I like my throat coat.
Sure.
And I have my Breathe Easy, and those are for my maintaining. But there was this turmeric ginger tea that I bought on Amazon, a loose leaf tea, that was like, I liked it, and I felt better after I had it, even if it wasn't true. I don't know. I just felt better after. It's like very orange.
Yeah.
And I liked it. Turmeric. It was a little bit intense, but I felt good drinking it.
That's a great answer.
Turmeric ginger.
Well, how do you feel?
I feel good. This tea was lovely. It's like a nice little wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad we got to have you.
I'm glad we did too. Thank you for steeping some tea with me and talking steep. And
yeah, that's how we do it.
Two steeped people here.
I'm excited to see your special, man. I can't wait.
Oh, I cannot wait to show it with y'all. I think it's really great.
Well, we're going to put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
All right, guys.
We're good.
Stay steeping.
Stay steeping. Oh, I love that.
Stay steeping.
That was Morgan J. You can follow him on Instagram and YouTube at Morgan J. You can follow him on TikTok at Morgan J Official. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping. I don't even have an
original?
iPhone.
Huh?
I don't even use an iPhone, and I appreciated that song.
You didn't, but you do.
I don't.
Wait a second. Don't lie, because I'm going to text you.
You can text me. It's green, baby.
It came up blue.
I don't think it could have.
Came up blue. Oh, no. Oh, it is a text message.
Yeah, it's green. It's green.
I got to delete this number.